hello to everybody. Hello to everyone. I'd like to first thank Ebony's Executive Director Yang Chen, President Will Ng, and the Reception Committee Chair Chris Kwok for hosting tonight's reception and inviting me to speak. Thank you to the Eastern District of New York and Judge Robert Levy and his team for this special exhibition celebrating Corky Lee. Thank you also to everyone who contributed to this exhibit. As the longtime partner for the late photographer Corky Lee, I had co-curated a photography show called Corky Lee on My Mind, along with Joanne Huang and Chi Wang Ing at Pearl River Mart last summer. I am so glad to see all the artists from that show included in this new exhibition. Corky would be so pleased that no one was left out. He cared a great deal about injustice, omission, and exclusion, themes that we carry out throughout his life's work. As a history major in college, Corky understood the importance of recording history. He told me he could not write or edit, so he chose to do it by taking photos. As they say, one photo is worth 1,000 words. So when Corky started his career in photojournalism, the mainstream media did not care to cover Asian American stories or issues like it is being covered today. He felt it all the more to use his skills as a photographer to inform the general public and to bring Asian American stories to the mainstream consciousness. He knew that there was a whole world out there that knew nothing about Asian Americans, and he wanted others to know about us, and for us to see ourselves in the stories. Throughout our relationship, I had always been behind the scenes helping Corky. One year I did his resume, and I was astonished by all that he's accomplished. Yet he had so much more that he wanted to do. I knew all about his hopes and dreams, and I was there to support him, including going with him for the past 5 years to Utah. Corky had wanted to go there because as a junior high school student, he remembered learning that the Chinese railroad workers helped build the Transcontinental Railroad. Yet he did not see one Chinese in the celebratory photo when the railroad was completed in 1869. He felt it was unfair that the Chinese were deliberately omitted, and so this photo seared in his mind. 50 years later, he would use social media to call for a flash mob of Asian Americans to join him at Promontory Summit for a recreation of that photo, which you see here in this exhibit. Corky's last reenactment photo was taken in 2019 at the 150th anniversary of Golden Spike. He had waited so long for this moment to come. This was the largest gathering of Asian Americans to date. The night before, he barely slept. He woke up early the next morning to go help with coordinating transportation. I remember feeling very anxious for him and asking if he had gotten everything he needed. He told me he had, and I made my way downstairs to join him in the private car where he was with actor Tai Ma and Angela Zhou from Hell's on Wheels. It wasn't until we arrived at Promontory Summit did I see Corky's expression. A look that no photographer wants to have. In his rush to help with transportation logistics, he had forgotten his wide-angle lens in our hotel room. I knew how important that day meant to him, and so I lent him my wide-angle lens and camera. I knew one day that the story would not just be about the contributions of the Chinese railroad workers, but about what Corky did to bring their story to light. He was the catalyst that ignited this interest in reconnecting us to our history, and in so doing, he brought us all together. That day, I stayed in place with hundreds of other Asian Americans in the hot beating sun, waiting for Corky to take our photo. He had made history. I share this story because I knew how he felt that day from beginning to end, who he photographed and why he was there. My close relationship with Corky gave me a special insight into his life that most people are not privy to. And I have first-hand account of photos he took because I have been there beside him for years taking photos too. In this month of May, as we celebrate the rich cultural diversity and heritage of the AAPI community, the photo I have in this exhibition is taken at a Lunar New Year celebration. It reminds me of a happy time when Corky and I would photograph the Lunar New Year's parades together. While he is best known for his activism photos, Corky was also very prolific in covering AAPI celebrations, art and culture that make our community so rich and beautiful. In short, I would like to end with a quote from Corky. I had once asked him about his advice for the next generation, and Corky said to me, as for the younger people following my footsteps, I'd like to invoke Martin Luther King Jr., saying, I have been to the mountaintop and may not be with you to get to the promised land. I see myself placing markers along the trail of Asian American history, marching towards progress and equality. Where it will go eventually, I don't know, and probably would not see. I am also part of the baby boomer generation that took heed of President John F. Kennedy's when in his inaugural speech said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I believe that Corky is looking down, and he's here with us in spirit today, watching all that's happening, and calling upon all of us to stop the hate, the misinformation, and to come together in love and solidarity. United, we can do so much more. Thank you, and I look forward to chatting with all of you.